Hi guys, I'm Jasmine and you're watching my channel, The Curious White Coat. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about something that's pretty important for your future career as a doctor. Figuring out what medical specialty is the right fit for you. I was lucky because I knew that I was going to be a neurologist coming into medical school, but not everyone knows what they want to do, and that's totally okay. Here are some ways that you can figure out what specialty is the right fit for you. So what exactly is a specialty? Medicine is vast, and a specialty is a specific branch or section, if you will, of medicine that focuses on treating people with certain conditions or using certain skills. For example, you have family medicine, internal medicine, neurology, dermatology, surgery. There are literally so many different specialties that I couldn't possibly name them all. So I did leave some links in the description box so you can do a little bit more exploration on your own. One of the ways that you can figure out what specialty is right for you is to talk to your upperclassmen and practicing physicians. Upperclassmen and new residents are a very valuable resource for you because they were very recently in your shoes and can give you a fresh take on how to decide what specialty is right for you. And they can also give you some more insight on advice for certain specialties and why it is that they chose that particular area of medicine. Practicing physicians are also a great resource because these are people that are living out their specialties in their day-to-day lives. They can tell you about their work schedule. They can give you behind-the-scenes viewpoints about the pros and cons of their specialty, and maybe even some ways that they kind of tweaked the way they practice medicine, so you can see if that's something that could be what you imagine yourself being. Most medical schools are going to have student-run organizations geared towards the different medical and surgical specialties. When you join these groups, you're going to get connected to those different people who are also interested in the same specialty that you're interested in, as well as getting in touch with different resources that can help you build yourself into a competitive applicant for that field. So I know in my first year of medical school, there was an interest group fair that was for all sorts of specialties and also for different things like people who were interested in music and medicine, business and medicine. So when you join these groups, you're going to get even more connected to that specialty. And just in case you might have missed that type of orientation in your first year, or maybe you had a virtual interest group fair and you weren't able to attend, consider looking for these groups on social media. Maybe they have a Facebook group or an IG, and you'll be able to connect with them that way. Or you can wait for the next interest group to come around in person. You can also explore specific fields through national organizations associated with those specialties. Pretty much every specialty has some sort of national org. I looked at the American Academy of Neurology, and they have all these helpful videos on what a neurologist does, what their career looks like, and I'll leave some links in the description box for any future neurologists out there who want to take a peek. But like I was saying, pretty much every specialty has them. So there's the American College of Physicians, which is for internal medicine doctors. There's the AAFP, which is geared towards family medicine practitioners, and so on and so forth for every specialty. There's also another tool that I liked. It was called Careers in Medicine by the AAMC. You do have to have a AAMC account in order to access this tool, but once you do, it has all these different overviews of different specialties, as well as more detailed looks into the salary, the hours, the amount of training, maybe things you didn't know about the specialty beforehand. So I highly recommend taking a look at that. They also have these kind of like personality tests, if that's what you want to call it. It's not really a personality test, but it does ask very specific questions about what things you value, how you want your medical practice to look like. So do you envision yourself in a mostly team-oriented setting, or maybe a largely independent practice? Are you someone who knows that you want to be doing procedures, or maybe you want to do surgery all day long? Those are the things that they ask you, and then they're able to match you to specialties that could potentially be something that you end up practicing. So a word of caution as you do your own research and you scour through Google or social media: beware of stereotypes and overgeneralizations about what a specific type of doctor should be like, act like, look like. These sort of opinions really don't mean anything. If you want to be a certain type of doctor, you go and you be that type of doctor. To me, the perfect fit is where your passion lies, and don't let other people's opinions or viewpoints of what qualities they think you should possess discourage you from being something that you really want to be. In your pre-med years, you were able to shadow different physicians in order to get a better idea of what medicine was like. In undergrad, I shadowed a neurologist, a neurosurgeon, a sports medicine physician for several months. You can continue to shadow in medical school too if you're able to find the time. And you might even have some clinical experiences built into your curriculum very early on. I had a preceptorship in family medicine in my first year, and then I also had an experience with geriatrics throughout the year in my second year of medical school. Your third and fourth year of medical school are going to be the part in your curriculum where clinical experiences are going to be more formalized and more of a main part of your curriculum. So in third year, there are different rotations that are advised for all medical schools to give their students exposure to, and I'll put them up on the screen over here. In third year, you get to be a more active member of the care team versus having that observer role that maybe you might have had in undergrad. So it's actually a pretty exciting time because you'll get to have even better exposure to these different specialties. And one of the pluses about fourth year is that you have the ability to take electives in any specialty that you want. So if you're still undecided and need some different experiences, these electives are available to you. However, you do have to apply for residency typically in September of your fourth year. So if you're still undecided, it would be wise to put these electives as early as possible so that you're able to make those decisions and solidify what choice of specialty that you want to apply to. While you're going through these different clinical experiences, try to be reflective about what's going on. Maybe keep a little diary where you write down different patient experiences and how they affected you, so that when you're making the choice between what specialties you want to do, you're able to really understand how you felt while you were practicing that type of medicine. So when you're going through these different experiences, ask yourself, is this something that intrigues me? Do I want to know more about it? Is it something that excites me? Can I imagine myself waking up every morning and being excited to go to work? I know for me, when I was in my neurology clerkship, I had to drive quite a bit of ways to get to that clinical site, and I was so excited every morning to be able to go there. You want to make sure that whatever it is you're doing, you love doing it, because hopefully you'll be doing it for many, many years. I'm going to be honest, I feel like medical school is typically easier for people who have decided on what type of specialty they want to do early on versus people who decide later. And that's just my opinion. And you might ask, why do you think that? From what I've seen, you have to apply to residency in the early fall of your fourth year, but you're going to be graduating in the spring, so several months after you've already applied for a certain specialty. So if you were hoping to have all of this elective time to be able to decide what type of specialty you want to do, you may not have that time. Another thing is that the longer you participate in different activities, sometimes residency programs will weigh that time in that experience as having a quality, long-term, dedicated experience in the specialty. And if you decide later on that, okay, I want to do general surgery, you may not have enough experience to show that you have dedication to the field, and maybe they don't see that as a person who's really reliable to want to stay in that residency program. Also, the earlier that you figure out what specialty it is that you want to do, the longer you're going to be able to have to do research, to have publications and other scholarly works in that specialty, which is really important for very competitive specialties like dermatology or ENT or neurosurgery, where the applicants are coming in with maybe years of experience in that field in some way. And that can make it more difficult for people who have decided maybe at the end of their third year or early fourth year that they want to go into those specialties. Another thing that I've noticed from my own experience with going on residency interviews and with writing, your personal statement, people will ask you, why neurology? Why obstetrics and gynecology? Why do you want to be an internal medicine physician? And it really helps to have figured out why it is that you want to go into that specialty. I would advise trying to plan ahead as early as possible to solidify your specialty choice. That way you have enough time to apply for residency and be a strong applicant in that field. That way you can craft the medical or surgical practice that you want to pursue in life. And I have seen just how stressful it can be to not know what specialty you're applying for in those months before it's time to submit your application, especially when it seems like everyone around you knows exactly what it is that they want to do. If you are deciding later than what is considered typical, don't despair. There are some ways that you can help yourself through this application process. So if you found what specialty it is that you want to do, try to have a meeting with the chair of that department or maybe a clerkship director, or if you know any residency program directors in that field, and sit down with them. Tell them your story. Tell them why it is that you came to the conclusion that you want to do this specialty, and really communicate your interest and your passion with the goal of trying to gain a mentor throughout the application process, or an advocate so they can talk on your behalf, or a sponsor who will be able to help you get those connections, even though you may not have an application that shows years and years of dedication to that field. Also, there is the option to apply to preliminary or transitional year programs that take place during the first year of residency. These can be helpful because you'll be acting at the level of a resident, and you'll be able to get more in-depth exposure to those two different areas of medicine. So maybe that might be the experience that allows it to click for you, like, hey, I want to do anesthesia or something like that. In fourth year, there's also the option to do away rotations or audition electives at different institutions. And there are students who will go into that experience and come back thinking, I need to be a cardiothoracic surgeon right now after being an active member of the care team. And then there are some people who realize, I don't think that surgery is for me. So this is just another good way for you to get that in-depth exposure and help you figure out what specialty is right for you. Throughout all of this, remember to have fun. As you're discovering what specialty is right for you, you're also going to be discovering more about yourself. So just remember that your specialty should be something that intrigues you. It should be something that you love. And I wish you all the best in figuring out what part of medicine is the right fit for you. Don't forget to share and like this video and subscribe so that you can see more of my videos about the medical school experience. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.